Let's start with one of the most common mix-ups: jaguars, leopards, and cheetahs. All three are large, spotted cats, but each one has its own unique style and habitat. Jaguars are the powerlifters of the group. Found mostly in Central and South America, especially in the Amazon rainforest, they have short, stocky bodies packed with muscle. Their bite is ridiculously strong, like they can crush turtle shells. Their coat is covered in rosette-shaped spots. The jaguar rosettes usually have a small black dot right in the middle. Leopards, on the other hand, live in Africa and parts of Asia. They're more slender than jaguars and are built for climbing. In fact, they often drag their prey up into trees to eat in peace. Their rosettes are smaller and don't usually have that central dot. Leopards are sneaky, solitary hunters, the masters of stealth. Now, cheetahs, these guys are in a league of their own. Built for speed, not power, cheetahs are the sprinters of the savannah. They've got long legs, a lean build, and solid black spots instead of rosettes. But the dead giveaway? Those black tear stripes running from their eyes down to their mouth. They help reduce glare from the sun when they're chasing down prey at 60+ miles per hour. Let's talk about another classic: bison versus buffalo. If you're in North America and you see one of those massive furry creatures roaming around, you're looking at a bison, not a buffalo. American bison have that big hump over their shoulders, a huge head, and thick shaggy fur, especially around the neck and head, built to handle snowy winters. Real buffalo, on the other hand, live in Africa and Asia. Cape buffalo and water buffalo don't have that shoulder hump, and their horns are long and curved. They look sleeker and are more adapted to tropical or subtropical environments. So, unless you're on safari or in a rice paddy in Southeast Asia, chances are you're not looking at a real buffalo. You're outside enjoying a picnic when something buzzes by your face. Is it a bee or a wasp? Bees are nature's gentle pollinators. They're round, fuzzy, and kind of cute if you look closely. They're busy collecting nectar and pollen to bring back to the hive. And yes, most bees can sting, but they usually don't unless provoked, and honeybees can only sting once before they die. Wasps? Whole different vibe. They're smooth, sleek, and way more aggressive. They don't care about flowers. They're predators, hunting other insects. And they can sting you multiple times without consequence. So if it's fluffy and minding its own business around flowers, it's probably a bee. If it's shiny, hovering near your sandwich, and seems angry at the world, it's probably a wasp. Rabbits and hares, they both hop. They both have long ears. And to most people, they look exactly the same. But in the animal kingdom, these two are actually cousins, not twins. Let's start with birth and development. This is a big one. Rabbits give birth to babies called kittens, or kits. And these little guys are born blind, hairless, and completely helpless. They need their mom's care right from the start, and usually stay hidden in burrows until they're old enough to fend for themselves. Hares, on the other hand, are next-level independent. Their babies are called leverets, and they're born fully furred, eyes wide open, and ready to hop within a few hours. Why the difference? It has to do with where they live. Hares don't build cozy underground burrows like rabbits do. They live in shallow depressions above ground, often out in the open. So, their babies need to be self-reliant fast to avoid becoming someone's lunch. Now let's talk about habitats and lifestyles. Rabbits are homebodies. They dig complex tunnel systems called warrens and live in large social groups. Ever heard the phrase, breeding like rabbits? Yeah, there's a reason. A single female rabbit can have 6 or more litters a year, with 4 to 12 babies each time. Hares are more solitary. They don't dig burrows, and they're not nearly as social. Think of them as the introverted, wilderness-loving cousin who lives off-grid and prefers their own company. They also breed seasonally, rather than constantly. And then there's appearance. Rabbits are generally smaller, with shorter ears and more compact bodies. Hares are larger, lankier, and have longer hind legs, built for speed. If you've ever seen a hare take off running, you'll notice it doesn't hop like a bunny. It sprints like it's trying out for the Olympics. Some hares can hit speeds over 40 miles per hour. One of the coolest differences? Seasonal camouflage. Some hares, like the snowshoe hare, change color depending on the time of year. In the summer, they're brown or gray to match the dirt and brush. But in the winter, their fur turns pure white to blend in with the snow. Rabbits don't do that. And let's clear up one more myth. Domestication. Rabbits have been domesticated for thousands of years. People have bred them for food, fur, and companionship. That cute pet bunny in your neighbor's backyard? Definitely a rabbit. Hares? Totally wild. You won't find anyone keeping a hare in a hutch or walking one on a leash. They're too nervous, too fast, and frankly way too wild for domestic life. A easy, quick one, the turtle and the tortoise. Shells are great, but not all shelled creatures are the same. Turtles are water lovers. They've got webbed feet, streamlined shells, and spend most of their time swimming. Tortoises, on the other hand, are land dwellers. They've got stumpy feet and rounder, dome-shaped shells. If you see one sunbathing near a pond, it's probably a turtle. If it's lumbering through the grass, that's your tortoise. Another pair of animals that surprisingly gets mistaken more than you'd imagine, the goat and the sheep. Both bleat. Both give us wool or milk. But sheep and goats have more differences than you'd think. Sheep are generally woollier, with floppy ears and more timid personalities. Goats? They've got more attitude. They're curious, stubborn, and love to climb stuff they shouldn't. Their tails usually point up, while sheep tails hang down. And then there are the horns. Goats usually have upright curved horns. Sheep either have none or thick curled ones. You can definitely tell once you know what to look for. Is it a monkey or an ape? All monkeys are primates, but not all primates are monkeys. Some are apes, including us. The easiest way to spot the difference? Tails. Most monkeys have them. Apes like gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, and yes, humans do not. Monkeys tend to be smaller, more agile, and spend a lot of time in the trees. Apes are larger, more intelligent, and have more complex behaviors. So if you see a primate swinging through the canopy with a tail, monkey. If it's walking on two legs and contemplating the meaning of life, probably an ape. They both start as caterpillars, go through metamorphosis, and flap around with wings. But butterflies and moths aren't the same. Butterflies are the show-offs. They fly during the day, they're colorful, and they usually rest with their wings closed upright. Moths are more mysterious, active mostly at night, more muted in color, and they tend to rest with their wings flat. One easy way to tell them apart? Check the antennae. Butterflies have thin, clubbed antennae. Moths often have fuzzy or feathery ones. It's a small detail, but it tells a big story. If it hops and croaks, it's a frog, right? Maybe. But it could be a toad. Frogs have smooth, moist skin and stick close to water. They've got long legs for powerful jumps. Toads, by contrast, have dry, warty skin and prefer drier environments. They're stockier and often walk or take short hops. Think of frogs as the swimmers and toads as the hikers. Now, here's a fun one. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between a puma, a cougar, and a mountain lion? Trick question. They're all the same animal, seriously. Whether you call it a cougar in the West, a mountain lion in the Rockies, or a panther in Florida, it's all one species. Puma can color. In fact, it holds the Guinness World Record for the animal with the most names. Over 40 names in English alone. These cats are solitary, elusive, and adaptable. They're found all over North and South America, and can live everywhere from deserts to forests to snowy mountains. So next time someone corrects you on the name, just smile and say, actually, we're both right. Now, if you've ever been to a petting zoo, a farm in the Andes, or just scrolled through Pinterest for long enough, chances are you've seen one of these adorable, long-necked, fuzzy camel-like creatures. But wait, was it a llama or an alpaca? At first glance, they look like twins, same general shape, same big eyes, same fluffy coats. But they're not twins, they're more like cousins, with very different personalities, histories, and jobs. Let's start with size, because that's the easiest giveaway. Llamas are bigger, much bigger. A full-grown llama can weigh anywhere from 250 to 400 pounds and stand over 6 feet tall at the head. They've got long faces and banana-shaped ears that stick out like little radars. Alpacas, on the other hand, are smaller and cuter, about 100 to 175 pounds. Their faces are shorter and rounder, giving them that teddy bear look that people can't get enough of. Now for a bit of a history lesson. Both llamas and alpacas are part of the camelid family, which includes camels. But instead of roaming deserts in the Middle East or North Africa, llamas and alpacas were domesticated in South America, mostly in the Andes Mountains of Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador. Llamas were bred as pack animals. Think of them as the cargo vans of the ancient Incan world. People used them to carry goods up and down mountain trails. Their strong backs and sure-footed gait made them perfect for high-altitude travel. But because they were pack animals, they didn't need super soft wool. So, while llamas do have fiber, it's much coarser and better for making things like rugs or ropes. Alpacas, meanwhile, were bred specifically for their luxurious wool. And let me tell you, this stuff is soft. Like, soft. Alpaca fleece is hypoallergenic, warmer than sheep's wool, and comes in over 20 natural colors, from creamy whites to deep browns and blacks. That's why alpacas were practically sacred to the Incas. Only royalty were allowed to wear their fleece. Now, let's talk about temperament, because this is where things get interesting. Llamas are known for being more confident and independent. In fact, they're often used as guard animals for alpaca herds. Yes, you heard that right. Llamas will literally chase off predators like coyotes if they get too close to the group. They're smart, alert, and not afraid to spit when they're annoyed. And yes, they will spit, but not as often as memes would have you believe. Most of the time, spitting is reserved for other llamas during dominance disputes. Alpacas are more shy, gentle, and social. They like to stay in groups and tend to get anxious if they're alone. They're also more vocal than llamas, often making these soft little humming sounds to communicate with each other. It's honestly kind of adorable. But unlike llamas, alpacas aren't usually used for labor. They're delicate, a little timid, and much more focused on being fleece-producing fluff machines. There's even a difference in their face shapes. Llamas have longer, more pronounced snouts, while alpacas have short, flat faces with a fuzzy teddy bear vibe. If it looks like it could be the star of a cartoon, or sell you insurance with one eyebrow raise, that's probably an alpaca. One more fun fact, llamas are much more tolerant of human interaction. You'll see them used for trekking tours, petting zoos, and even therapy animals. Alpacas? Not so much. They're a little more reserved and prefer to be admired from a respectful distance. All right, let's head to the coast for one that trips people up all the time. Sea lions versus seals. Both are blubbery, flippered, and ridiculously cute marine mammals, but they've got some key differences if you know where to look. First up, let's talk about ears. Sea lions have visible ear flaps on the sides of their heads, like little tiny ears that stick out. Seals don't. They've just got small holes, so if you see ears, it's a sea lion. Next is movement on land. Sea lions are surprisingly mobile. Thanks to their big rotating front flippers and strong shoulder muscles, they can literally walk on all fours. You'll see them waddling around docks or beaches like they own the place. Seals, on the other hand, don't have that range of motion. Their flippers are smaller, and they move on land by belly flopping and wriggling. Behavior-wise, sea lions are the extroverts. They're loud, social, and love to bark. Seriously, they sound like grumpy dogs. You'll often see them piled on top of each other in big, noisy groups. Seals are more reserved. They're quieter, more solitary, and prefer to stay low-key. Introverts of the sea, basically. Even their swimming style is different. Seals steer with their back flippers and kind of undulate through the water, like fish. Sea lions use those big front flippers like wings, almost like they're flying underwater. Let's talk about one of the oldest rivalries in the reptile world, alligators versus crocodiles. They've both been around since the days of the dinosaurs. They both look like armored tanks with teeth, and they both will absolutely ruin your day if you get too close. But they're not the same animal. The easiest way to tell them apart is by looking at the shape of their snouts. Alligators have broad, U-shaped snouts, wide and rounded like a shovel. Crocodiles, on the other hand, have long, narrow, V-shaped snouts that come to more of a point. Next, look at their teeth when the mouth is closed. Alligators' upper jaws are wider than the lower ones, so when they shut their mouths, their top teeth cover everything. It's a pretty clean look, like a reptile with a good dental plan. Crocodiles? Total opposite. Their top and bottom jaws are about the same width, so when they close their mouths, their teeth stick out all over the place, especially that big fourth tooth on the bottom jaw. Looks like a reptilian overbite. Then there's habitat. Alligators are mostly found in the southeastern United States and China. They prefer freshwater, swamps, lakes, rivers. Crocodiles are more widespread. You'll find them in Africa, Australia, Southeast Asia, and parts of the Americas. and they're more tolerant of salt water thanks to special glands in their tongues that help them excrete excess salt. Now, let's talk personality, because yes, even prehistoric lizards have attitudes. Alligators tend to be more chill. They'll usually leave you alone unless you get too close. Crocodiles, though, way more aggressive and unpredictable. If you're swimming somewhere you shouldn't be, and one of these guys shows up, you better hope it's an alligator. If you made it to this point in the video, you are absolutely the best. I'm so happy to have you watching, and if you can subscribe to the channel for more content, it would be the most appreciated. Thank you for being amazing. Let's hit a few extra ones real quick. Dolphins and porpoises. Dolphins have longer noses, bigger bodies, and are more playful. Porpoises are smaller and have more rounded features. Moose versus elk. Moose are larger and have those giant paddle-shaped antlers. Elk are smaller with tall, spindly antlers that branch up like trees. Penguins versus puffins. Penguins can't fly and live in the southern hemisphere. Puffins live in the north, and, surprise, they can fly. Mice versus rats. Mice are small with big ears and long tails. Rats are bigger, thicker, and honestly a little more intimidating in a dark alley. So, the next time someone points at a spotted cat or a furry barnyard animal and gets it wrong, you'll be the expert. You'll know your frogs from your toads, your seals from your sea lions, and yes, even your alpacas from your llamas. Let me know in the comments which ones you've mixed up before, and if there are any pairs you want us to cover next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more deep dives into the weird and wonderful world of animals. Thanks for watching.